$0.99 per pound.
Good morning, America. We do have breaking news overnight. North Korea fires back their response after President Trump's new warnings, doubling down on his tough talk, saying the U.S. military is ready if it launches missiles near Guam.
If anything happens to Guam, there's going to be big trouble in North Korea.
And overnight, the president's remarkable phone call with the governor of Guam.
We are with you 1,000%.
As that island braces for the threat of a missile strike. How they're preparing this morning.
Clash on campus. Hundreds of white nationalists marched through the University of Virginia. Their torches lighting up the night, going head-to-head with counter-protesters, what they want, and the bigger rally planned for today.
Swift ruling. Taylor Swift shaking off a major lawsuit. Her big victory overnight in a case filed by a former DJ. The other woman in this photo leaked to TMZ taking the stand, while the case isn't over yet.
And we have a winner. One lucky ticket sold in a Mega Millions drawing where they're celebrating this morning, but your champagne dreams aren't over yet.
Winning ticket.
The giant jackpot up for grabs tonight.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Thank you for joining us, everybody, on this Saturday. As you can see, Dan has the morning off, but we are so happy to have this one.
Honored to be here. The best team in weekend news, the G-Man.
Thank you. It's your first time anchoring the show, so we're excited for you. Somebody is waking up a multimillionaire. We know it's not you because you're here today, but at least one person holds the winning ticket for the $393 million Mega Millions jackpot.
The drawing just a few hours ago, and what we know so far is that the winning ticket was sold in Illinois. Here is a live look right now at the spot. Nick's Barbecue in Palos Heights. No word yet on who's holding that ticket. The jackpot had been rolling over since April 28th. Now, finally, someone's rolling in the dough.
And rolling in the barbecue. Lottery fever isn't over yet. There's still the Powerball drawing that is up for grabs tonight. $356 million at stake. We're going to have more on that coming up, but we want to get to the heated tensions between the U.S. and North Korea.
North Korea responded just moments ago with its own stern warning after President Trump said Kim Jong-un faces big trouble if Guam is threatened. The president staying in touch with Guam's governor, placing a call to assure the island he is with them, quote, 1,000%.
Now, our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, kicks off our coverage this morning in Seoul, South Korea. Martha, good morning to you.
Good morning, Paula. The fiery back and forth between Donald Trump and the North Korean leader is only intensifying, with each promising the destruction of the other if threats become reality. Just hours ago, the first word from North Korea since Kim Jong-un's regime announced plans to launch missiles into the waters off Guam. This morning saying if the Trump administration does not want the American empire to meet its tragic doom, they had better talk and act properly. That statement clearly in response to President Trump's string of warnings, from his Friday tweet saying the U.S. military is locked and loaded to his latest.
If anything happens to Guam, there's going to be big trouble in North Korea.
This morning, the governor of Guam releasing a video of a call he received from the president overnight.
We are with you 1,000%.
Reassuring him of the White House's support, even promising a tourism boon.
Eddie, I have to tell you, you've become extremely famous. All over the world, they're talking about Guam, and they're talking about you, and I think your tourism, you're going to go up in like 10-fold with the expenditure of no money, so I congratulate.
Still, Guam's Department of Homeland Security releasing these pamphlets, telling residents how to prepare for an imminent missile threat, urging American citizens there to not look at the flash or fireball of a possible nuclear blast. It can blind you. Here in Seoul, the threat is so close, just 35 miles to the border, a matter of minutes for a ballistic missile. You can actually get very close to North Korea just driving outside of Seoul. That's North Korea just across that river. We can see apartment buildings, but if you look closer, you can see they're all empty. Worldwide, America's allies promised to rush to America's side. Japan, South Korea, and Australia all vowing to help, but a rebuke from German Chancellor Angela Merkel, saying, "I think an escalation in language is not the answer."
Well, I think maybe she's speaking for Germany. Let her speak for Germany.
But China, North Korea's biggest trading partner, crucial to solving this crisis, is making the same argument, urging restraint from both sides in a phone call between President Trump and President Xi late last night. Paula, Matt?
Thanks, Martha. And Martha will be reporting from South Korea for us all weekend. We want to bring in retired Marine Corps Colonel and ABC News contributor Steve Ganyard joining us from Washington. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Paul.
So we've seen this war of words the last few days. North Korea issuing that statement today saying that the U.S. better talk and act properly or promises the tragic doom of America. But is there anything to really indicate a true conflict is on the horizon?
We're not seeing anything, Paul. The so-called indicators and warnings where we'd be looking at North Korea to see if they were mobilizing, if ships were leaving ports, if people were coming out of the fields to take up arms. We're not seeing that. It's pretty calm in North Korea right now. And remember that communique that they said that they weren't going to launch those missiles towards Guam until after the plan was approved sometime in mid-August. So it seems like we have a little bit of a calm period here now.
And North Korea, Steve, is threatening to hit the waters off of Guam. Now, if that missile or warhead strikes within 12 miles of the island, does that constitute an act of war? And does the North have enough precision to ensure that it doesn't actually strike inside that 12-mile area?
That's the big bet, Matt. If he decides to launch those missiles towards Guam and they land inside of 12 nautical miles or on Guam, that is an act of war. But if he goes offshore and demonstrates that he can ring that island with those 4 missiles, he will have demonstrated the next step in a nuclear capability, and that is accuracy, and would be a very, very disturbing indication.
Disturbing indeed. The president also made news about Venezuela. There is a near civil war brewing there. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Many options for Venezuela, including a possible military option if necessary.
So, Steve, what do you think the president's play is here in Venezuela?
Matt, I think he's only turning up the heat a bit on Maduro. It's a civil war in Venezuela. There's no place for the U.S. military. Which side would we take? That said, there are always plans in place for non-combatant evacuation of U.S. citizens and embassy personnel. That could be what he's referring to, but certainly not a place where we want to get involved.
All right, Steve Ganyard, thanks for your insight this morning, this Saturday morning. And one more note, President Trump's going to be wrapping up his working vacation from Bedminster, New Jersey, and heading back to D.C. That's where we're getting the first pictures of the renovations that are taking place that have kept him out of the West Wing. Look at this. We're seeing spruced up floors, new carpets, a new air conditioning and heating system, as well as new paint, an almost $3.5 million overhaul. Trump's also holding what he's calling a, quote, pretty big press conference on Monday, so stay tuned to that.
We will be watching. And tomorrow on This Week, George Stephanopoulos will have an exclusive interview with Anthony Scaramucci in his first interview since his whirlwind 11 days as White House Communications Director. That's right here on ABC.
Looking forward to that.
It'll be
a lot.
Very interesting. Now to the torch-bearing white nationalists clashing with counter-protesters on the campus of the University of Virginia.
Things have turned violent, and officials are bracing for a weekend of demonstrations like this. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is right there in Charlottesville for us this morning. Good morning to you, Stephanie.
Paula and Matt, good morning. This is where that Unite the Right rally took place. Behind me, hundreds of people gathered here on the University of Virginia's campus, chanting, and some in the crowd breaking out in fight.
Overnight, a dramatic scene as white nationalists carrying torches
blood and soil, blood and soil,
and echoing chants flooded this major American college campus. The images calling back to segregation-era forms of intimidation.
You will not replace us!
Several injured and one person arrested, led away in handcuffs, as hundreds of alt-right activists demonstrating at the University of Virginia clashed with counter-protesters. Police calling it an unlawful assembly, dispersing the crowds after fights break out between the two sides. Some protesters reportedly being hit in the face with pepper spray. Many overnight condemning the event, the mayor of Charlottesville calling it racist and intolerant, writing, "Everyone has a right under the First Amendment to express their opinion peaceably. So here's mine." He said in a statement on Facebook, "I am beyond disgusted by this unsanctioned and despicable display of visual intimidation on a college campus."
What we saw here last night was meant to tee up today's event, a rally to prevent the removal of a Confederate statue. The governor says the National Guard will be on standby just in case things get out of hand. Paula, Matt, back over to you.
Thanks very much, Stephanie.
Very much, and we'll be watching that this evening tonight. But now we turn to one of the NFL's fastest rising stars, suspended for 6 games without pay.
Yeah, after investigating Ezekiel Elliott for more than a year and the claims that his ex-girlfriend made about domestic violence, the league made its move. So what happens next? ABC's Janae Norman is in Dallas, just outside of Cowboy Stadium for us this morning. Hi there, Janae.
Well, Paula and Matt, it is a tough morning for Cowboys fans. One of the team's biggest stars temporarily sidelined after the NFL's decision to suspend Ezekiel Elliott.
Elliott for the touchdown!
This morning, the Dallas Cowboys' record-setting running back benched. The NFL suspending Ezekiel Elliott, a first-round draft pick and one of the fastest rising stars in the NFL, saying he violated the league's personal conduct policy after one woman accused him of physical violence. The NFL forcing the player known as Zeke to sit out 6 regular season games without pay.
The Cowboys owner Jerry Jones did not expect any suspension. The NFL handed him a 6-game suspension, which threatens to disrupt the Dallas Cowboys season.
The NFL making the call over multiple 2016 allegations by his then-girlfriend, Tiffany Thompson, that Elliott abused her, saying he used physical force against Miss Thompson, resulting in her injury. Those alleged injuries posted by Thompson on Instagram. Elliott tweeting he's disappointed by the decision and disagrees with the league's findings that his attorney says are replete with factual inaccuracies and erroneous conclusions.
And Ezekiel Elliott rolling inside the 25.
The 22-year-old star seen flexing and hurtling in this year's ESPN body issue, now facing one of the longest alleged domestic violence penalties in NFL history. The NFL coming under fire in the past for not being strict enough for suspensions it leveled against other players accused of domestic violence.
The league took a very hard-line stance here after not taking that type of stance where Ray Rice was involved, where Josh Brown was involved, where there have been other examples of domestic violence. The league was determined not to be embarrassed again.
And that decision from the NFL comes even though Elliott was never arrested and prosecutors didn't file any charges. He is expected to appeal, and while we'll likely see him play in tonight's preseason game, that suspension would have him sidelined for the team's first regular season game here at home on September 10th. Matt and Paula.
Thank you very much, Janae. And again, he is expected to appeal. He has 3 days to file that appeal, but this is the second year in a row where the biggest story going into the NFL season was a suspension of one of its star players. We had Tom Brady last year. Now Ezekiel Elliott.
And it's worth noting that there are financial implications to this.
Huge.
6-game suspension means he loses more than $500,000
That's a lot of money. A lot of money. We want to move now. You've probably seen that disturbing video from London where a woman is shoved into a busy road by a jogger, and there is fallout this morning.
Now, lawyers for the American investment banker who was arrested and released say they can prove he is not the jogger involved. ABC's Jennifer Eckerston has more from London.
This morning, an American businessman now at the center of this bizarre incident. The viral video showing a jogger appearing to push a woman into the road right in front of an oncoming bus on London's Putney Bridge back in May. Again, watch as he runs towards the pedestrian in the opposite direction. She falls into the road, the bus swerving, just missing her.
Almost certainly this could have ended in a fatality.
Tips poured in after the surveillance video was released. London police saying they arrested a 41-year-old man, but they wouldn't confirm his name or nationality. Police have since released this man. Attorneys for American investment banker Eric Belquist confirming their client was arrested. The catch, his lawyers say, the man in the gray shirt is not Belquist, writing, he categorically denies being the individual concerned and has irrefutable proof that he was in the United States at the time of the incident. Belquist's attorney not yet releasing their proof, but say, consequently, we expect a swift resolution to this wholly untrue allegation.
Now, London police confirm they have not filed any charges in this case. We spoke with police this morning. They're still investigating, and they may have an update later today. And that victim, incredibly, she suffered only minor injuries. Paula and Matt?
Thank you very much, Jennifer. And now to the great Ron Claiborne with the latest headlines.
Keep
going, man.
One and only.
Keep going. G-Man, welcome to the show. Good morning to you.
G-Man.
And G-Man, Paula, Adrian, and Robert. Good morning, everyone. We're going to begin in Bedminster, New Jersey, where the president is. The Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, saying that American diplomats in Cuba were victims of, quote, health attacks, causing hearing problems, and that Cuba is responsible for finding out who was behind it. Some employees at the American Embassy in Havana suffered unexplained hearing loss, forcing some of them to return to the U.S. American officials say they believe some sort of sonic device was used. And a scary ride home for Vice President Mike Pence last night as he made his way back to Washington after spending the day in Indianapolis, in his home state of Indiana. Reporters traveling with the Vice President said that his plane, Air Force Two, as it lifted off, there was a bright flash outside and they heard a thud. A few minutes later, the flight crew told passengers that the plane had hit a bird and all was fine, except for the bird, I imagine. In Mississippi, a manhunt underway for 4 dangerous inmates who escaped from a county jail. The 4 men were reported missing after a routine check early Saturday morning. Police say the inmates are accused of murder, rape, assault, and burglary. No word yet on how they got out. And doctors in Cleveland are calling a 4-year-old boy who was shot in the head during an apparent road rage incident last Sunday incredibly lucky. In fact, he's already out and playing. Surgeons had to reconstruct the boy's skull after a bullet went through the front part of his brain. Police say the 4-year-old was riding in his mother's car when she honked her horn to pass another car blocking the road. Someone in that vehicle then allegedly opened fire. 2 people have been arrested. And finally, a driver pulled into a gas station to make a stop at the convenience store, but when her passenger got impatient, he decided to let her know it was time to come back. Check this out. Yes,
That's a dog?
that is a dog incessantly honking the horn of a car, only stopping when the dog, finally sees his owner coming back. Even more remarkable, Matt, the dog drove the car off and home.
Why don't we have any video of that then?
Isn't that amazing, huh?
Allegedly?
Must have been a dog day afternoon. I don't know.
It was a dog day afternoon.
The dog.
Time now.
The dog did not drive the car.
Dog days of summer.
Hey, guys.
He could learn, though. Dogs can be.
How you doing, Roberto?
How's it going, guys? What up, G?
No, it's not. It's the G-Man.
G-Man. We all have our nicknames for Matt.
I like the way that he did it, though. That was slick.
Thank you, Amy.
What up, G?
That means more to me than anything else anyone's ever
Gangster.
said.
Yeah.
Gangster Rob
That's how we roll
Marciano.
here.
This gangster's taking you down to Key West, where the streets are rough. Check out this. The harbor here.
Take a walk.
A land spout developing quickly. Would have been a water spout if it was all the water, but it kind of tore up this marina just a little bit. Scary times there. Just a little bit of damage. Nobody hurt. Flash flood watch out for Oklahoma today. Saturated ground there. More rain coming along this frontal boundary that's kind of stalled. It happens this time of year, but waves have just been going across the Red River. So 4 to 5 inches of rainfall on top of what they've already had. So flood threat there. We also have the severe weather threat with these storms that'll be rolling through this afternoon, not just there, but also across parts of North and South Dakota and parts of Nebraska, too. Hey, watching this invest or the disturbance that we think will develop eventually, or a 50 to 60% chance of doing so, into a tropical cyclone. But the front that's coming through the northeast now should nudge it out to sea, so that is a good thing. That's a quick check on what's going on nationally. Here now is your local forecast.
Showers coming to an end this morning, but we're not out of the woods quite yet. We still have a flood warning until 9:30 this morning, including Manassas, Manassas Park, and central Prince William County. Be cautious of some down branches and also water-covered roadways. As we head into the afternoon hours, additional showers and thunderstorms popping up with a cold front moving through the area. Best chance for the D.C. Metro to see some showers and some gusty thunderstorms coming after 7 o'clock this evening.
Getting it back in the capable hands of M.G. Hammer. 2 years ago, it was an ice storm, and Matt Gutman was on in D.C. with a hammer knocking down that ice, and ever since then, he's been hammer time to me.
Hammer time.
That's right.
There's only one hammer, and that's MC Hammer.
No,
I do wear those billowy
Hammer.
pants sometimes, though.
Nobody rocks them like you,
Thanks
baby.
for that visual, Gutman.
All right.
Got to post that
Wipe
one.
that out of your mind now.
Okay.
I got that song in my
One
head.
thing you don't want to wipe out of your mind. Getting rich. 1 down, 1 to go in this weekend's massive lottery jackpots. There is at least one winner in last night's $393 million Mega Millions drawing.
And we've got a live look this morning from Palo Heights, Illinois, where the winning ticket was sold. And while everyone is wondering who holds that ticket, there's another huge prize up for grabs tonight. ABC's Adrian Bankert is here with more and a Little birdie told me that somebody gave you a ticket out on the street.
That's true. Somebody did walk up to me and give me a ticket, but
Really?
like these ones, they're losing.
Hey.